Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is February the 6th, 2025, 31 years into our democracy. Just seemed yesterday when Nelson Mandela, of course, walked out of Victor Verster prison in 1990. A lot has changed. The country has grown, has made its leaps and bounds, but here we are. This is, of course, another year of the State of the Nation address. My name is Fahraaz Patel. We'd like to welcome you, the viewer, here on Hilaal TV, DSTV channel 347 for our live broadcast here just behind the City Hall, where, of course, President Cyril Ramaphosa at 7 o'clock tonight will be giving his State of the Nation address. It's, of course, the first year of the government of national unity. A lot of supposed disagreements on a lot of acts that have been signed by President Ramaphosa. So there's where the big test is going to come. Of course, today we're going to be having a lot of interviews that are going to be occurring from opposition parties, and inshallah, we'll be hoping to get some ministers as well. But as every Sona, I'm not alone. I'm joined by my colleague. He's none other than Luqmaan Shadrach. Luqmaan, assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and jazakallah so much for welcoming not just myself, but the rest of the Joburg team here in Cape Town.
Alaikum salam to you and to our dear viewer. Yes, it's finally here, Sona 2025. We've had a year of lots of challenges, lots of successes in some regard as well. And we're going to take our viewer down that road and discuss some of the various political parties, the GNU, it's now a year old. Have we progressed? We have the Progressive Caucus, that was the opposition to the GNU as well, that held them accountable to when things needed to be steered in the right direction. But join us on this journey. We're going to be here for the next couple of hours until about 10, 11 o'clock tonight, inshallah. For us, it's the wind is quite strong today. Yes. So do forgive us at times when you do see our jackets flying, and hopefully that's not all that's going to be flying. You'll have the fly past a bit later when we do the official opening of 2025. So,
I mean, the sparks will fly, because if anything's to go by, of course, you've got the MK party. We'll say, well, let's see. But the gloves are off when it comes to the first year of the government of national unity, Luqmaan. A lot of disagreements, land redistribution, the Bella Act, and of course NHI. In your view, do you think there's cracks starting to show there?
Definitely. I think a lot of promises were made. Look, everybody, especially every year that government has a SONA, there's plans that are put in place. You've got the budget speech that happens, and funds get allocated. However, every so now and then there are missed opportunities when it comes to, because people hold on to every word that is said in 2024 SONA, and we had the elections as well. So people hold on to that. People expect our politicians, especially leading from the top down, to deliver as promised. I don't think we've delivered. I think there's a lot of work still to be done. And hopefully the president tonight will reiterate some of his plans that he spoke about in 2024, knowing that the rest of South Africa and some of the world as well is now also watching us very closely, and we'll get that a bit later, will pay close attention to what the plans are going to be going forward and how we can rectify some of those missed opportunities.
Yeah, I think one of the things also is this Progressive Caucus, because man, we've seen such a huge change. We've got Floyd Shivambu, who left the EFF, not just him. Of course, you saw Advocate Dali Mpofu also leaving.
And last night we've had another change.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, it's just showing that these changes are happening, which means even the Progressive Caucus seems to be sliding. But we hope to get, of course, members from the ATM, of course, the National Coloured Congress, who are going to come and talk to us with regards to that. Luqmaan, we have to touch, of course, on the economy. This is where everyone's big talking point is.
Sure.
3% growth. That's what South Africa is targeting. Team South Africa has just come back from Davos.
Yes.
Can they meet that 3% target?
Look, I think it's achievable if not just government, but big business gets together and helps in this process. Because unfortunately, government will not be able to do everything. What are your thoughts with regards to the business side coming into that?
The business side has to come. But unfortunately, South Africa right now is heavily dependent on the private sector. I say this because we look at our state-owned enterprises right now. Look, South African Airways has turned a profit around. Transnet seems to be getting there.
Yeah.
It's Eskom. I mean, just the other day we had load shedding returning.
Correct. Yeah.
So the question I think we need to ask ourselves is, how much of a role is private sector going to play?
Yeah.
So we have to have that happening. South Africa's come from Davos and sold this idea that it remains an investor-friendly country.
Yeah.
But then you look at our mines, you've got ArcelorMittal South Africa, you need to shut out its long steels in the Vereniging area in Gauteng. That in itself for me is already a big problem. It's a big problem because it shows that if we are not able from a resource perspective to put confidence into investment, that is not a good idea.
Yeah,
The
but I
3%,
want to go back to bringing the private sector into this as well. This is where we need to start getting the private sector to look at the employment equity.
Oh, of course,
right?
Of course, I think
And-
triple BEE has not been worked out quite well. If you're saying triple BEE, that means each and every previously disadvantaged person needs to be put in place.
Yeah.
The problem is with cadre deployment, and this has been, I think, a systematic ill within the governing party from 1994 to 2004, has been quite an ill.
Of
And
course.
they've not really gone ahead and really solved that issue.
Well, we've had government that is still undecided what to do with the CWP workers. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
so they've
definitely,
had almost a possible 67,000 workers that could lose their jobs. So COSATU came in, saved that for a short reprieve until the next couple of months. After the budget speech, we then go back to the table and say, right, are they keeping them or not? Now, this is workers aged 55 and over. If those workers lose their jobs, where are they going to find work again? The private sector will not employ people aged 55 and over. Very rarely will they do that. There are instances where that could happen, and it's far and few between. But where is 67,000 people going to be looking for work? You've got 67,000 times 4 or 5 in a family. You're now affecting a household and exacerbating the poverty cycle. So this is where I say the private sector, from my own opinion, private sector needs to readdress how they see the employment.
To add to that, Luqmaan, the problem with the private sector is they are upheld on profits.
100%.
So,
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, I think that's where the biggest
Yeah.
key challenge is going to come. So hopefully that can change, but I think we all know the ugly head of capitalism. Luqmaan, I want to touch on international relations. Man, oh man, Donald Trump.
Well, there's never a dull moment when Trump is in power. I mean, look, this is good material for comedians. Number one,
course,
for our comedians and international comedians. The marriage between America and Israel is so evident that the rest of the world is now starting to see. I think Saudi Arabia is now coming to the play and saying, you know what, guys, we see what's happening. We see what's going on.
They forced the citizens of Gaza into going into these areas.
Correct.
It does not work.
Yeah.
But the thing is that now South Africa, I think, needs to put their foot down. I think Cyril Ramaphosa's statement the other day was a clear indicator of putting his foot down, because I don't think South Africa needs to be bullied into submission.
No, 100%.
And that for me is an unacceptable.
And
so,
obviously,
I mean, yes,
the one point that Cyril Ramaphosa, or Donald Trump said is going to pull funding, and that's obviously where people, their hair start to stand on end, because let's face it, we need international help. We're not out of the woods in South Africa, but to hold us at ransom because you have an idea that somebody's put forward in South Africa to now make it sort of international rule that he now needs to get involved. He's got no business in South Africa. Absolutely
and
no.
then you got Mr. Elon Musk, who quote unquote is South African, playing his role.
Yeah, I wonder if Conrad Koch is around, because the guy with the puppet.
Oh yeah, yes.
Because it seems like hand in glove, both of those.
Of course, no, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Luqmaan, the way the South African National Defence Force, of course, unfortunately our soldiers got killed defending democracy in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Rwanda has now got themselves involved. How do you assess South Africa's management of this diplomatic row that is happening with our East African counterparts?
Yeah. So I'm always an advocate of keeping relationships open that have been fostered over years. DRC years ago was one of the few countries that accepted our exiled politicians and exiled soldiers, And this is where South Africa thought by getting involved, they can keep that relationship open. Unfortunately, it was through the demise of 14 of our soldiers who are now being brought back, and our prayers go out to the families of those soldiers who defended and tried to assist where possible. But we're going to bring a lot more to our views a bit later. We're going to set the tone. We're going to speak to politicians, pre-interviews, post-interviews, on-the-ground interviews, red carpet. There's so much happening. I took my energy drink. I don't know about you.
Oh, enough coffee for the morning. No problem. Well, there you are. Of course, do stay tuned to Hilaal TV, DSTV channel 347. This is your channel where you want to be to preview or look ahead to President Cyril Ramaphosa's State of the Nation address. And of course, immediately after that, we'll be back after the break.